All right, welcome back. Time flies, does it not? Okay, so welcome back, everybody. All right, so just want to confirm if everybody is up to date. If you have been following so far, you've been enjoying the program. Let me see, just with a wave, just get a quick vibe check in the area. So you could just send a wave. You could say I'm enjoying the program in the chat box. If you've had any challenges as well, feel free to let me know. I'll be super glad to address that. Okay, all right, so let's see. Also, what I'll be doing is that I'll be making available this model, whatever I'm doing, available in the materials folder, so you can have as a reference as well. If you wanted to see what we actually did in class, but it is expected that you also produce yours, so you can actually go ahead and pick your own colors and your templates as well. Okay, all right, so great. I saw some thumbs up from some people. Thank you for that. Glad to hear that. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue, so we do catch up and finish on time. Now we want to go ahead and bring in the slab, right? So what we do have now is that we have beams, and then we have columns. Let me go to the 3D view, right? Obviously this is not a complete building. Nobody's going to be able to stand on this. We need to have this actual slab, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to bring that in to the building. Now if you do remember or recall, we have a slab that is available, and that is from the architectural model. Now it would make more sense not to go ahead and model another slab. You can actually do that, especially if the architect hasn't modeled his own slab properly, or you feel like there are some structural considerations that need to be made. But if you have a slab from the architectural model, or rather a floor, if I may say so myself, it's better to just import it from the architecture. And how do we do that? The first thing we need to do is we need to come back here to the model, the Revit link. I'm going to right click and I'm going to reload it back into the project. Just going to wait for it to load up. Alright, good. So we have here the architectural model. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on it, and you're going to see this option at the top of, sorry about that. You're going to see this option at the bottom of the screen here, temporary hide or isolate. So some of you that are familiar with using CAD applications, this is the way to isolate elements that you've selected. Now if I click on this temporary hide or isolate, you see the option here to isolate elements. So that's what I want to do. Now the shortcut after you've selected it is HI. So HI. So that's a faster way to do it. Now what you're going to see is that we have here the ground floor slab. Likewise as well, we also have the first floor slab somewhere around here. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to copy both of those. And how we are going to copy it is that we're going to use the tool here in the collaborate tab. But before we do that, we need to have an understanding of the thickness and the properties. So I move my mouse to the Revit link, and you can see right now it's selecting, or rather highlighting, the Revit link. All I need to do is press the tab key until I can select it. So you can see that this floor here is 150 mm in size. But that's actually based on how it was named. So likewise as well, it's always important to actually check. And I'm also going to check the one here on this side. So I'm going to press tab. If I click on this one as well says 150 in size. Okay, so I have an understanding of exactly what the thickness of the slab is. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come here to the collaborate tab. Bless me. And you're going to see here this copy monitor too. I'm going to click on select link, and I'm going to click on the model. Now if you do that correctly, these tools come up over here. What I'm going to do in this case here is that I'm going to click on the copy tool. So I click on copy. I'm going to select the first floor slab here. So I'm going to click here to copy it. And now that has copied that one in. Now I want to select the first floor slab. Rather, I selected the ground floor. So I want to select the first floor. Now to do that, I need to orbit around and find it. Now there is a furniture layer just like we saw in the architectural floor. I don't want to drag that in, so I want to make sure I select the ground floor. So this ground floor here is made up of multiple floors, right? So these are one of the things that architects may do and you may want to end up joining them later on. So we have one layer here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this one to import it. So that one is there. And I want to go ahead and select the other one. I'm just looking for an edge where I can find it. All right, so I've seen the edge. So here, that is the actual floor. So I click here to import that as well. So that one just selects this side. So that means there's one on the other side as well. Just going to come to the edge. I'm going to zoom out so I can find it. So just make sure that it's showing the name before you click on it. Yes, so that one is inside there as well. All right, good. And then there's one more here, one here. So I see it, so I just got to click on it. All right, so these are situations where the architect may have modeled so many floors, composite individual floors, so we'll need to join them later. So let's just go ahead and leave it as it is. Now, one more thing that we need to do is that after doing the copy monitor, I need to come over here and then click on finish. So when I click on finish, it brings it in. If I don't click on finish, I'm not going to see the elements, those elements that I brought in. So when I'm done, I can come over here and turn off this hide isolate. So if I click on it, you see the option here to reset the hide isolation tool. Now I have my slab in view. Okay. Now you may not be able to see it, but all you need to do is just go ahead and then unload the architecture. Now this unloading may be always quite stressful. So what I could do in this case here is come to visibility graphics override. I click on edit and I come here to Revit links, and then I can just turn off the visibility from here. So it's still going to be in the project, it's just that it's not going to be visible. So if I click on apply, you can now see it's gone. All right, great. Now we have all the slabs. We have multiple slabs here. We have one, we have another one here, we have one, another one here, we have one here. So in this case here, I don't want multiple cases of just one slab, so I'm just going to join all of them together as a composite slab. Now to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come over here and then click on the top view. And you can as well edit the slab from the first floor plan, because that's the level where it is. You can see that if I move my mouse over it, you can see it. And likewise as well, if you want to hide the Revit link, you can come to the visibility graphics override and do that. But keep in mind that we have a template here. So how you do it is you come over here to the view templates first, and then come over to visibility graphics override for Revit links and turn off the visibility here for now. Let's do that in the 3D view. It feels a little bit more dynamic. So I select any one of them. So I'm going to select this one here, and I'm going to click on edit boundary. Now you can see the edges here showing by this what do you call it, this line over here. And right now all of them have been set to show in the middle of the slab, right? I mean towards the interior of the slab. So what we are going to do is that we are going to drag them out a bit. Okay, so I'm going to drag everything to the center. Now this is how us engineers would prefer our slabs to be, and you understand that when we get to another topic later on. So I'm going to drag it to the center lines of the beams and the columns, because that's the point of contact. Let's drag it to the center lines like this. And because I want it to be one full slab, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use my line command. So click at the top here to draw more. So I'm going to click here, from here to here, come over here, click here. I'm going to click here to draw one here. Let's go over here and draw another one from here. I'm going to draw one for this slab, and we want this slab here to be at exactly this beam here. Alright, so the edge of the beam. So I click here. So now we've had an error. We want to make sure it's at the center of the beam. So what I do is I press escape. I come over here and click to start drawing the line. Alright, good. So I can come and stop it here. When I'm done, I click on modify. Now we need to clean this up. We have some lines that are just lapping like this. So we're going to use what we call trim. To use the trim command, while this slab editing options is still active, you see under modify, we have the trim options. So it's called trim slash extend to column. Now this is very similar to AutoCAD, but it works a lot much faster. If I click on it, if I click on this line and this line, you can see it will trim or either extend them to each other. We also have another instance of them not meeting like this, right? And if I actually forgot, what Revit will do is that if I click on finish, it's going to identify those areas. So you see line is giving me a warning or error. Lines cannot intersect each other. The highlighted lines currently intersect. And what I can do is that I can expand this and you can see the numbers of errors. So if I click on one, I can tell it to show me where that error is. Okay. So you can see it's now zoom into that error. That way I won't be frustrated or have trying to be looking for where I have the error. So I'm going to click on cancel and I'm going to just trim it out. When I'm done, I click on finish and now you can see I've placed my slab. Now I'm having just one warning, and the warning is I have multiple slabs intersecting each other. This is what we call a clash. Now anytime I select that slab, I'm always going to see a show latest warning here. So to go and rectify this, all I need to do is click on the other slabs that are there and delete them. Okay, so I get another warning that is telling me is a coordination monitor alert. That's the copy monitor that I used earlier on, but that isn't a problem since this is what we want. So I'm going to delete all those minute smaller slabs. Okay, now if I click on the bigger slab, now we can see that we don't have those show related warnings again. Bless me. Now if I come back here and click on the top view, beautiful, now we see we have our slab. Now let's go ahead and beautify this, because why not? Okay, so we have both our ground floor and our first floor. The first floor, the one actually giving us a bit of the issue. So in the 3D view, I'm going to click on the slab. I'm going to right click on it, and then you see the options here. Override graphics in view. I'm going to override graphics in view by category. And in this case here, I'm going to change the transparency to probably 20% and click on apply. Now this is going to make it a lot much easier for me to see my slabs, and actually the columns of the slabs in between, and make it a 40%. Looks a lot much better. And I can also go ahead and choose a surface pattern. So this surface pattern will just make it remove that whitish view. Can change it to probably a light gray. Right, so the light gray is quite too bright, so I can change it to maybe this gray here. Okay, good. Okay, so this visible is turned off, so that's the reason why we didn't see it. So if I turn this on, yes, so this is much better. So let's change it back to the light gray. All right, so this is better. I feel this light gray is quite too dark, so all right, this is better, much better. I can as well also change the projection lines here, change it from solid to a lighter color. I also want to change the line width to 1 also. Okay, to make it a lot much easier to view. That way we have a much more cleaner look. All right, beautiful. We've been able to do this. Now let's go ahead now and check our first floor and ground floor plan. If I go to this view now, we can see that we have our slab also. Now we have an issue. We can no longer see our beams. And now this is going to pose an issue because we need it for presentation. Now I'll show you exactly why this is happening. If I go back here to the 3D view, you can see that because of the modeling of our slab here, it has cut through the beam. And this is what an issue was we call join order. So join order errors. So to fix this, all I need to do is come over here to modify. And under the geometry tab, you're going to see this option here, switch join order. Now at this point here, I just want to just get a quick vibe check. If you are having any issues, do let me know. Now you can see here that we have it's showing you exactly how the tool works, right? So right now the join order of this is that the slab comes first, the beams come second. But if I click this switch join order and I move my cursor and select the slab or the edge where I can see the slab here, seems it's not selecting, so let me select the beam first. Right, it's a bit of an issue selecting it. Hold on, let me press. So if we are having an issue using the join order, first we need to join the slab to the beams. Okay, now to do that, all I need to do is I need to match the properties of both the slabs and the beams. So forgive me, I forgot to mention that. Now if I click on the slab, okay, we can see that it has a height offset from level, and we don't want that. So these are some of those intricacies from the architecture. So I'm going to change this back here to 0 and accept any warning that I have from coordination for now. Likewise as well, also we can see here that the thickness of the slab is wrong, so it shouldn't be 300 mm, and the reason for that is that it didn't have a family type that matches that from the architecture. So what I could do is I can come over here and click on edit type, and I can duplicate, and I can call this new type here 150 mm. Let's call this 150 mm floor. Now just renaming it doesn't change it. I need to come back here and click on edit type, and I'm going to change the material here. Right now is by category. I'm going to click on this three dots icon, and this is where we can set materials to our elements. Now these materials are vital because of what we're going to do later on in the analysis and the design. You can do all of this prep exactly, or rather straight from Revit. Over here I'm going to be searching for a standard material. I'm going to call it concrete, and we see various concrete materials here, right? And if I click on one of them, for instance, you can see it has a dedicated tab for physical, so we can see some of those properties. If I come to physical and I expand this mechanical, you can see the properties such as the Young modulus, the Poisson's ratio, shear modulus, density. If I click on concrete, I can see the concrete compressive strength, its yield strength, all of that information. Now this is what will be sent to your structural analysis software for it to go ahead and do the analysis and the material assignments. Now in this case here, I want to search for a material that is not here. So what I do is I come over here under this filter, and I'm going to search for more standard materials. So these are the ones that I'll use for my code. In this case here, I'm going to click on this C2530. And right now it's not in the project. So for me to bring it to the project, I need to go over here and click on this button, add material to this document. So when I do that, you can now see it is here. Now if you have an issue that you're not seeing these set results, all you need to do is just come over here. So it's probably looking like this for you. Click on this option here to expand this. Sorry about that. No, this button rather here. So this is material libraries. If I click on this, I'll be able to see it. Now for the essence of this project, we are going to be using this concrete C2530. Likewise as well, you can see some of the properties, the compression strength of the concrete. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I changed the thickness also here to 150. If I remember correctly, the slab thickness should have been 200, so that's why reviewing the architecture is very important. So I need to change this to 200. I'm also going to come over here and rename this as well to 200 mm. So that's why it's important to always check. When I'm done, I click OK. And it's telling me that the is going to change what is from the architecture, but that's fine. And I've changed that. Likewise as well, I'm going to click on this slab at the bottom and change it to that new property. So if I click on the drop down, I would see that 200 mm floor. I also want to do and set the same materials for my concrete and my beams. So I click on one of my columns, rather my columns and beams. I click on one of my columns, right click, and select all instances in the entire project. If I move down, you're going to see an option here to set materials, so materials and finishes. I'm going to click on this three dots icon to open the material browser, and I can click on this concrete C2530 and then apply it to the columns. Likewise as well for the beams. If I click on one of them, right click and select all instances in the entire project that I've modeled so far, I can change the material from whatever it was to the C2530. All right, now when I do that, what it's going to do is that it's going to properly join all those materials together. If I come back here to the first floor plan, you can now see the edges of the beams. It's not quite nice, but you can now see them better, which is a lot more useful. Okay. All right, good. So we've done that here. We're going to be doing more on this later on. Now let's talk about presentation. Presentation is basically what I'm excited to show you guys today. Now, to do a presentation, a general arrangement drawing based on what you've done so far, it's vital because sometimes the clients will want to have an understanding of how the structure looks, or the architects may want to have an understanding of what the structure looks before you go ahead and design. Now, this is proper communication ethic. You want to be sure that the architect agrees with what you've done before you go ahead and design. So this will reduce the time for rework, as the case may be. Now, to create presentation or general arrangement drawings, there are various things that you need. You're going to need the structural plans. Those are quite necessary. You're going to need elevations. You're going to need 3D views. Those elevations and 3D views are just some of those caveats that you can do in Revit. It's quite faster to do. If we were to do this in your traditional CAD application, it's going to take quite a lot of time. So we're going to start with the structural plans. Now, I've gone ahead and created a title block for everybody to use. If you're interested in learning how to create title blocks, we'll cover that later on. But I want to make sure that everybody has some sort of products so far in the training. Now, we should have this. Let me come here. I think I still have my Google Drive set up. All right, so at this point here, if you have any questions, let me know. Just want to load up the Google Drive. All right, great. All right, so at this point here, I just want to confirm if everybody is following. Let me know just by a thumbs up, hands up, anywhere. If you are following, just let me know. All right, thumbs up from Razal, thank you. All right, thumbs up from Felix, thumbs up from Monet, thank you. All right, great. All right, so we're all following. That's great to hear. Now, inside your materials folder, that's the link shared with you. By the way, if you are trying to remember, all you need to do is go to your shared with me folder, and then you see that folder that we shared. So that's your participants folder, by the way. Inside that folder, right now we have three sub folders. So we have the recordings, and we had originally the shopping plaza project folder. Now we have here Revit families. Now open up the Revit families, and you see three subfolders here. You see here title blocks, footings, and then you see element tags. So let's go ahead and open up these title blocks. Now this is what we call a Revit family file. Now to go ahead and load this, I'm just going to click on this three dots icon, and I'm going to click on download. Like if you have Drive for desktop, all you need to do is just go ahead and double click to load it. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this to my downloads. Now once I have saved it to my downloads, you should have something like this. So I have this title block design workshop. This is design workshop 2024 NB, standing for no borders, and this is an A2 title block. Okay, A2 title block. Now I've decided to choose an A2 title block because of the size of the building. Now choosing a title block for your project is very important, because for larger projects that span longer, you want to make sure that it fits into the joints without having cluttered annotations. So for this project, I've decided to opt for an A2 title block. Now, If you depends on whatever is available in your city. So for instance, if you don't have access to A2 prints, you could opt for an A3 print. If you have access to A2 prints, you can go ahead. In fact, if you do have access to A2, A1, or A0 as it may be, you can also opt for those. But for the essence of this project, we're all going to be using an A2 title block. If you are interested in having or using an A3, just let me know. I'll provide the Revit family file for you. So to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and open this file after I've downloaded it. And it's actually a file that I saved in 2023, so anybody using versions 2023, 2024, or 2025 can open it. So if you see this option here, don't worry about it, just go ahead and upgrade the model. It's going to convert it to a 2024 type. Alright, good. So this is the title block that we are going to be working with. Okay, so I've gone ahead and formatted it with for instance here, blocks, or rather fonts that will be available on your systems, by the way. So I just remember there's a particular font on this one that may not be on your system, so I'm just going to go ahead and change this here. Let's call this true. So everybody should have this over here. Alright, good. I'm going to drag this out a bit, so I'll update this in the folder so you all can have this as well. So by the way, if you are following, you can just go ahead and use this also, and if you wanted to update it, you can easily just do that later on. Alright, good. So this is the title block we're using. Now the A2 title block has a paper size of 594 that's millimeters by 420 mm. So that's the size of the paper. A2 is twice the size of A3, by the way. So once I've opened it up in the editor, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on load into projects. Now if you have multiple projects, it will ask you the projects you want to load it to, but in this case here, the only other projects that I have open is just the structural file that we've been working with. So I'm going to click on load into projects, and now it has been loaded into the project. So you can see that I have a warning, I can't load this element into this view. So this is not a sheet view. Now let's go ahead and create a sheet. This is going to be our first sheet. I'm quite excited to show you guys this. So to create our first sheet, I'm going to come over here and click on view. Oh, by the way, we're at the 30 minutes mark, but let's just go ahead and do this before we take a break. So go to the view tab, and then you see under sheet compositions, sheets. So I'm going to click on sheets, and we can see that new title block that we just imported, which is the title block for the design workshop 2024 no borders A2. I'm going to click on OK, and now we have a new title block. Apart from the cover page, we have this new title block here. Now inside this view here, I can go ahead and change the sheet number. In this case, let's change the sheet number here to S101. Alright, good. Now after changing it to S101, I'm also going to change the sheet name. I'm going to call the sheet name here general arrangement. So let's call this general arrangement. Let's call this 3D. So I'll put a hyphen, a space bar, and I put 3D. Then I click on apply. So when you do that, you're going to notice that it's also going to be updated here as well. Okay. Now we are going to place that 3D view that we have, or rather we'll be working with, on that sheet. Now to do that, all I need to do is come back here to the sheet. And if I go to the view tab, you see I have the option here to place a view on the sheet. If I click on place view, I can search for that view, which is the 3D view. If I click on it, if I click OK, it allows me to place the view on the sheet. So I'm just going to click and drop here. So just like that. Now another way I can do it, so I'm going to click on this viewport, is that I can find it in the project browser. So we see the 3D view. I can click and I can drag it inside here, and when I place it, is now in the view. Now you can see also that because it's on a sheet, this particular option here is going to be displayed as blue, meaning that it's a reference on the sheet. Now we can see this here is quite small compared to the sheet size. Now to change this, all I need to do is just change the scale. So what I need to do is just click on the viewport just once, and we see some viewport settings over here. If I scroll up, I'm going to change the view scale from 1 to 100. Let's try 150, but I feel that's going to be big. If I click on apply, you can see that is quite larger than what we need. So let's set a custom scale. A custom scale is a scale that isn't here. So I scroll up and then click on custom scale, and I change this here to 75. Let's try 75. If I do 75, yes, that works. Now I can come back here into the sheet, and then I can drag and place it exactly where I want it to be. Let's pull it up a bit. You can also use your arrow keys to nudge it either up, down, left, or right after you've selected it. The next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this title that is here on it. So I click on it once, the viewport once. I come over here and then turn this changes to no title. So this appears like this. Awesome. All right, so we've been able to do this. So after this now, let's go ahead and place one plan view. To create a plan view, all I need to do is just come back to my sheet, and I can click on just this one over here that I have so far. I can right click on it, and I can come over here and click on duplicate empty sheets. Now I prefer this method than going to go and create a new sheet, because every time I create a new sheet, it asks me to choose a title block. I find this faster. So right now you can see now this one is labeled as sheet 102, so I don't have to go ahead and set the sheet number. And all I need to do is just come inside here and rename it. So I can either rename it from this title block here, I mean the properties box. I can rename it from here by double clicking inside here, or I can just come here, double click slowly inside here, and then I can change this name. So I'm going to call this one here, let's call it ground floor plan. I'm going to look for the ground floor. This is this view. I'm going to click and drag it inside here and place it in the view. Alright, good. Alright, so just like the 3D view, we can see that this one here is quite large, right? So what we're going to do is that it's quite small rather. So what we're going to do is that we're going to change the view scale. Now if I click on this, you're going to notice that the view scale here is grayed out. Now the reason for this is because of the view templates that we applied on it. So what I can do is I can come and scroll down under identity data, click on the view templates, and instead of just changing the view scale individually, for all of them, I can just turn off this include button here. When I turn it off and I click on apply and OK, you notice that most of these things are still grayed out, right? But now I can individually change the view scale for this view, meaning that if I have multiple views with the same view template on it, I can individually set a view scale of my choice to them. So if I come over here and change this to custom, I can put here 75. If I click on apply, alright, good. So you can see 75 is a good fit. After I've set it at 75, I can set exactly where I want to place it. But I still have this issue of the borders being around the buildings, around the building so much. And probably when we come back, I'll show you how we can rectify this. Before we go ahead and go for the break, I'm going to click on the viewports like this and change this here to no title, so I don't have this title here. Alright, good. So at this point here, we should have 3 sheets. The first one being the cover page, second one being the general arrangements, and the third one being the ground floor plan. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and still modify this a bit so we can have a more full detailed drawing. Alright, so we're in the 30 minutes mark, or rather if I must say 37 minutes mark, and we are going to take a 1 minute break and then reconvene at 7:39. That's by my time, so that should be 9:39 by your time AM. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll be glad to address them during the break. All right, so Felix has a hand. Okay, Felix, you can ask your question.
So my question was, in the floor plan view, we can only see the grid line, but no partitions. Those words, is it correct to be displayed that way?
Oh, so, I'm sorry, Felix, I didn't get that.
I'm saying after you have made the floor plan sheet, we can only see the grid lines and the slab, but there is no partition walls.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
correct? Or
Yes. So right now on the floor plan, if you look at the 3D, if you look at the 3D very well, you see that there aren't any beams, so there are no ground floor beams. That's why we can't see them. We have in place the first floor plan, which are the ones that actually have the beams. So that's the reason for it appearing like this right now. Hope I was able to answer the question.
yes, yes.
All
Thank
right,
you.
you're welcome. All right. Okay, so let's take a minute break and reconvene at exactly 7:30 or 7:30, yeah, 7:39 by my time.